Ladies and gentlemen and non-binary friends, you are about to witness the very first episode of the Madagascast, the world's first complete analysis of the Madagascar franchise. I already regret starting this. In this podcast slash video series, we are going to analyze the Madagascar franchise in its entirety in chronological order, or semi-chronological order. I will say more about that later. We are starting with all 78 episodes of All Hail King Julien, including All Hail King Julien Exiled. Then we are going to talk about Madagascar, the movie that started this whole fever dream, the DVD special, Merry Madagascar, Madagascar 2, Madagascar A Little Wild, Madly Madagascar, Madagascar 3, the Penguins of Madagascar movie, and then finally the Penguins of Madagascar TV show. This is, as stated before, a podcast series. You do not need to watch the video while listening. You will not miss out on anything important, but I am going to show imagery from discussed scenes, which will help to better understand what I'm describing. This first episode is dedicated to explaining how the analysis will be structured, why I'm doing this, and other important but boring stuff. Plus, we are going to look at the opening of All Hail King Julien. I'm planning to make this a long-running series. The next video will analyze the first 2 episodes of All Hail King Julien, plus a review of the episodes. The following videos will talk about roughly between 2 and 10 episodes each, depending on how much is going on in the episodes. 1 episode long specials like the DVD specials will just get their own videos, and the main movies will most likely be split into a handful of videos, each covering like 20 minutes of the movie. We will also have a long villain analysis of Mort at some point, most likely after we're done with All Hail King Julien or at the very end of the series. Although Madagascar A Little Wild is chronologically first, we're going to talk about it after Madagascar 2, because it doesn't really make sense to watch it if you don't know the characters. At least it doesn't make sense to analyze. So yeah, after Madagascar 2, when we know the main characters and a bit of the past, we will talk about Madagascar A Little Wild, which I have not watched yet, and that's gonna be an experience. As to why the heck I'm doing this to myself, I kind of liked the Madagascar series as a kid, and I started speedrunning one of the Madagascar games a while ago, and I just don't really have anything else to do in my life. Okay, so let's stop wasting time and let's get started with the All Hail King Julien opening and theme song analysis. The opening starts with a shot of the jungle of Madagascar at night, mostly focused on the tall baobab tree in the middle. In the behind-the-scenes material for the first movie, and I hope I don't mispronounce that name, Facundo Robodi, credited here as model maker, talks about how he translated the concept drawings into 3-dimensional real sculptures, for which he studied them for about 5 months. Stuck inside the main tree, we'll also see the airplane for the very first time, which will become more important later on. The big tree, which despite the inconsistent layout of the jungle still seems close to design from the original movie, is now illuminated by 2 big moving spotlights, and the camera moves deep into the jungle. We see the shadows of 2 lemurs in a shot that is very similar to the lemur reveal in the first movie, which then move away, showing the viewer a crowd of lemurs partying in colorful lights, looking up to a platform, with lemurs dancing around a bunch of large leaves. Meanwhile, the music has started, repeating the syllable pa 20 times, with increasing speed and distortion, building up a drop which results in the word party, as King Julien the 13th, and main character of All Hail King Julien, and 2 dancing bystanders are revealed by the 4 lemurs up on the platform, now opening the curtains of leaves. At least that is what I thought 2 months ago when I started writing and recording this episode. It turns out I was not right. For some reason, I never even considered just listening to the official soundtrack, and I would know exactly what they are saying, and I didn't have to interpret what I was hearing. Also, in the beginning, the Netflix subtitles didn't really tell me what was being said. It just said dance music playing or something. So now that I have actually looked it up, it makes more sense, because the line right before that is, and I quote, "Who's the king that keeps it fly?" Which makes sense that it doesn't say pa 20 times, it says, fly, 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 fly. Then, and I quote from the written lyrics, just the syllable FL 8 times. Then 8 times just a P sound. And then the word party. So the first 12 sounds that I identified as pa were actually fly. Okay, now back to what was previously recorded. I thought I needed to add that. So while scripting this video, I watched the opening multiple times, and I cannot resist pointing out that the 4 dancers opening the curtains and the 2 dancers next to Julien all look the same. All 6 use the same 3D model, a light brown or light grey lemur with yellow eyes. During the reveal, the 2 dancers next to Julien are pretty much mirrored copies of each other, with one being slightly ahead of its clone. They then switch to being exact copies, not mirrored but fully synchronized, which happens as the left one awkwardly spins himself into synchronization. I noticed that at this point, only in the Netflix After School YouTube channel's upload of the theme, when the left dancer gets mirrored, the texture of the floor next to him moves by a few pixels. Okay, so the opening theme itself is mostly a somewhat generic LMFAO party rock-esque song, very well fitting for the scene and setting up the general vibe of Julien the 13th, with the lyrics repeatedly saying his name. The rest is typical party song lyrics with genius spit splits like "Get down for the get down." Wow. After a close-up shot of Julien and a crowd shot that contains the same light brown, yellow-eyed lemur from before 3 more times, we see the king on a part of the platform which is left to where he was revealed. Now with 2 balding, twerking, light brown lemur ladies with orange eyes next to him, one on each side. King Julien is visibly entertained by this and seducingly shakes his hips and points his finger guns at the crowd. The king starts twerking for us and jumps up while spinning around 180 degrees, now facing us again, but before he lands we switch to Clover, doing something that I assume is supposed to be dancing and or fighting. In the first bit of the series, Clover is Julien's bodyguard, so it does make sense that her dancing looks like she's karate chopping the air. After her introduction, we see Maurice, Julien's right-hand man and the secondary protagonists of the show. Maurice, Clover and Mort are King Julien's royal circle, the most important side characters for most of the All Hail King Julien show. As already mentioned in the introduction, there will be a complete character analysis of Mort at some point. We get another close-up of Julien the 13th and a crowd shot. Julien jumps into a group of people. Clover, Maurice and 3 generic lemurs, as well as Mort. Julien lands in the arms of 2 of the unnamed lemurs, with his arm resting on Mort's head. We now see the 3 members of the royal circle, standing in the middle of the crowd, dancing. The dancing is very well done in character. We can see Mort breakdancing on the floor. His movements are energetic and faster than everyone else's, just like his personality. Clover is precisely jumping, then quickly punching the air like she's Crazy Diamond. Again, this makes sense, as she's a professional bodyguard, after all. Maurice's movement is smooth. He's standing still and doing the arm wave, a simple move that, when executed precisely, can add a lot of movement to your dance. And even though I think it is less obvious than with Mort and Clover, his dance is also done in character. His mostly calm and collected nature and logical thinking and precise actions are represented in his dance, as he's only doing what is needed, but what he is doing is very precise, perfectly timed, and it does give him a lot of character even though he is barely moving. King Julien somehow got back up onto the platform and now swings down from it again using a liana and starts crowd surfing on some generic lemurs. He gets down to the floor, the spotlight now directed at him, now with the crowd behind him, and this is where I noticed a really odd continuity error. The crowd always consisted of the same 3 or so models of lemurs, each one having a few variants for different eye colors. In the crowd surfing shot they did pay attention to making a crowd of many different lemurs, but in the next shot, when he gets down onto the floor, behind him there's 9 lemurs, all 9 being the exact same light brown or light grey, yellow-eyed variant we have already noticed a bunch of times. Julien has had enough of this, and he kicks Mort away. The opening ends as it shows the All Hail King Julien logo, and more lands in between the K and the N in King, removing the I and now wearing Julien's crown. The screen goes black and the first episode begins, but that is to be discussed on the following video. Overall, I think it's a huge missed opportunity that they barely showed the side characters except for the royal circle. I would have loved to see recurring lemurs like Horst, Ted or Pancho. What I noticed only after actually thinking about this opening for once is how well the main side characters are being set up. You immediately know who the important characters are and you get their vibe. The dancing is very well choreographed for how short the dancing shots are, and they all reflect the dancer's personality. I would rank the opening a solid 6 out of 10 Julians.
That's it for the opening analysis. I still have a few things to say about the opening, but those will just be mentioned in future videos when we have scenes to compare to the opening. I'm gonna say this only once. Yeah, my mic sucks. My English also isn't the best. I also don't really have any real editing experience in any way, but regardless, I will try my best to deliver high quality videos. I know that didn't go so well till now, but yeah, most of the things editing wise I did in the video I learned while doing them for this video. So even though it took weeks, actually even months, between scripting the video and editing it and publishing it, I think the next episodes will be faster because I know now how to do basic editing. Also expect many, not all, of the upcoming videos to be longer than this because we only talked about 1 minute of over 5,000 minutes in the whole franchise, so let's hope that this will be fun. The next episode will be published in 3 days, or maybe a month, maybe in 4 years. Actually, I have no idea at all. So yeah, bye.